Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. So, do you remember what all things we have learned? Yes or no? Which chapter we are discussing now?
Chapter 8,
Chapter 8. What's its name?
redox reaction.
Yeah, redox reaction. So, anyone please tell me any two definitions for oxidation? John, can you tell me? John Jose.
Addition of oxygen, loss of hydrogen.
Okay, addition of oxygen, removal of hydrogen. Then what about reduction? Other definitions for reduction, not using oxygen and hydrogen. Marin, can you tell me?
Removal of electronegative and addition of electropositive.
Okay, removal of electronegative element and addition of electropositive element. Okay, Navrin. So then we have discussed about competitive electron transfer reactions, right? In the last class. So children, is it possible for the zinc to displace copper from its solution? Yes or no? Is it possible for zinc to displace copper from its solution?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, right? Yes, zinc can able to displace copper from its solution. That's why the blue color of copper nitrate solution, it will become fade and there is one brown deposit on the surface of zinc, isn't it? Then what about the reverse reaction? Is this copper can able to displace zinc from its solution? Yes or no?
No,
No. What's the reason? Why?
copper is less reactive than zinc.
Very good. Copper is less reactive than zinc. According to electrochemical series or activity series, only highly reactive metals can displace lesser reactive metals. That's the reason. Clear? Then we are moving to another example for this competitive electron transfer reaction. That's with copper and silver nitrate, AgNO3. Copper and AgNO3. So you look at the observation here. Different stages of this reaction. A copper rod that is dipped in silver nitrate solution, and in initial stage, the copper rod that is brown in color and the solution is colorless, right? Then after some time, you can see that a blue color starts developing, isn't it? And at the last stage, the intensity of blue color increases. That's the final stage. And there is one silver deposit on the surface of this copper rod. So what happens here? Which reaction take place? Jewel, can you tell me the name of this reaction?
Ma'am, decomposition.
Decomposition?
Displacement reaction.
Yeah, displacement reaction. Displacement reaction. So here, copper displaces silver from its solution. So what about their reactivity? Copper is more reactive than silver, isn't it? Copper is more reactive than silver. So this reaction can also written in the form of electron transfer, right? Cu plus Ag plus. Okay. Here it is AgNO3 solution. So it is Ag plus in the form of ion, right? Ag plus and NO3 minus, isn't it? Yes. So it is Cu plus 2Ag plus. It will give Cu2 plus 2Ag. So what about the electron transfer take place in this reaction? What happens to copper? Loss of electrons or gain of electrons? Copper.
Loss of it.
Yes, very good. Loss of electrons. Copper loses electron and converted to Cu2 plus ion, right? Then what about silver? It is converted to Silver ion is converted to silver. So what happens here? Loss of electron or gain of electron?
Gain of electron.
Gain of electron. Okay. So this is the electron transfer reaction of displacement reaction between copper and silver nitrate. Copper and silver nitrate. So how can we write the reactivity order of zinc, copper and silver, children? Zinc, copper and silver. Which one comes first in the reactivity? Zinc, copper or silver? Which one? Yes. Among this, zinc, copper, silver. Which one is more? Zinc is most reactive because zinc can able to displace copper. So zinc is more reactive than copper and it is more reactive than silver. Here also the reverse process of this previous reaction does not take place because silver is less reactive than copper. Okay. Then you can also note this electrochemical series or activity series. One more point, only highly reactive metals can displace lesser reactive metals. Only highly reactive metals can displace lesser reactive metals. So in the case of all displacement reactions, electron transfer takes place. Okay. In all displacement reaction, electron transfer takes place. Both the loss of electron and gain of electron. That means both oxidation reaction and reduction reaction take place in displacement reaction. So it comes under the category redox reaction. This is clear for you, children, about the competitive electron transfer reaction. It mainly takes place in displacement reaction. Highly reactive metals can displace lesser reactive metals. We can identify the highly reactive metals and lesser reactive metals using the activity series or electrochemical series. If there is loss of electron, oxidation reaction takes place and gain of electron leads to reduction reaction. Is this concept clear for you? Yes. Have you completed this one?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Then next we are going to learn a new topic that's about the oxidation number. We have learned about valency or oxidation state, right? In the smaller classes. So yeah, you can also write this point. I think already copied this one, right? According to electrochemical series, reactivity follows the order zinc, copper, silver. Only highly reactive metals can displace lesser reactive metals. Just 1 minute. 1 minute, children. Okay, so first of all, we will learn certain rules to find out the oxidation number of each element in a molecule. Okay, so before that, we can do one example. Okay, just wait. Okay, so here it is 2H2 plus O2 gives 2H2O. So this is a chemical reaction, right? 2H2 plus O2 gives 2H2O. So do you know what about the oxidation number of this H2 molecule, H2? We have learned the oxidation state or valency of few elements, right? Always in the case of hydrogen atom, it is +1. Then for oxygen, it is -2. Then for all alkali metals, it is +1. Only very few elements, right? So what about this oxidation number of hydrogen molecule, H2? Any idea? No. Okay, oxidation number of any diatomic molecule, it will be considered as 0. Okay, oxidation number of any diatomic molecule, not in the case of atom. In the case of diatomic molecule, it is 0. Okay, so here the oxidation number of hydrogen molecule is 0. And if the element, that means hydrogen, as an atom in a free state, that's also considered as 0. That we will learn in the rules. Okay. Now you just understood this H2, it has the oxidation number 0. What about the case of oxygen, O2? That's also 0 because the oxidation number of all diatomic molecule, that is 0. Diatomic molecule means the combination of same atom to form the molecule. H2, then O2, Cl2, N2, etc. Here, in all these cases, the same atom combined together to form a molecule, right? Then, when it comes to a compound, the sum total of the oxidation number of this molecule is 0. That means H2O all together 0, but there will be separate oxidation number for hydrogen and oxygen. Clear, children? This is clear for you. I will tell you. We know that the common oxidation state of oxygen is -2, right? The common oxidation state of oxygen, that is -2. And in the case of hydrogen, it is always +1. It is electropositive element, so it is +1. How can we find out this valency or oxidation state? Can you tell me valency or oxidation state? There are two ways. One, the number of electrons present in the outermost shell, or the number of electrons required to complete the outermost shell. These are the two methods. Okay. In some cases, it will be the total number of electrons present in the outermost shell, and in some cases, the number of electrons required to complete the outermost shell. We can do one example with oxygen. What about its configuration? 2, 6, right? 2, 6. So, how many more electrons needed to complete that octet? 2, right? Yes, 2 more electrons needed to become 8. So, its oxidation number is considered as 2. And we will add this charge according to electropositivity or electronegativity. So, it is -2. That is the oxidation number of oxygen. That is common. But there are certain exceptions that we will learn in the rules. Okay. So, here -2, that is the oxidation number of oxygen. And always in the case of hydrogen, it is +1 because the electronic configuration of hydrogen, it is 1. Only 1 electron. So, it can able to donate that 1 electron, right? Or only 1 electron there. So, 1 is considered as the oxidation number and it is an electropositive element. So, it is +1. Okay. So, +1, that is the common oxidation state of hydrogen. And I told you one more thing. The combination, that means the sum of the whole oxidation number of this molecule is 0. Right? 0. You can leave this part. Only H2O. Consider H2O. No need to look at the balanced thing. Okay? Here. So, here the sum total is 0. Where oxidation number total, that is equal to 0. Here in the case of oxygen, it is -2. And hydrogen, it is +1. But there are 2 hydrogen atoms, right? 2 hydrogen atoms. So, it is 2 into 1 plus -2. That means 2 minus 2, that is equal to 0. Okay. and we will learn more rules for find out the oxidation number of any element in any molecule. Clear? This is just a sample. So this is the method to find out the oxidation number of each element or each molecule. If it is a diatomic, homodiatomic molecule, their oxidation number is always 0. And the element in free state also, its oxidation number is 0. Okay. And in the case of a compound, the sum of the oxidation number, that is also equal to 0. Clear? Yes. Then I will show you the rules. We can learn it one by one. Rules for determining oxidation number. Rules for determining oxidation number. The first rule is that in elements in the free or the uncombined state, each atom bears an oxidation number of 0. Example, carbon. That's in free state, their oxidation number is 0. If it is hydrogen atom in a single state or a free state, their oxidation number is 0. Oxygen in free state, its oxidation number is 0. So in the case of all elements in the free or the uncombined state means not in the form of a compound, in the free state, okay, their oxidation number is 0. That's the first rule. Then the second one, for ions composed of only one atom, the oxidation number is equal to the charge on the ion. Example, if it is Fe2 plus, okay, Fe2 plus, that's in the form of ion, right? Or Na plus. So their oxidation number is the charge itself. That means here it is +1, here it is +2. Clear? If it is in the form of ions, the same charge will be considered as the oxidation number of that ion. For ions composed of only one atom, the oxidation number is equal to the charge on the ion. You can write this example along with that. Fe2 plus, it is +2, Na plus, it is +1, then again Cl minus, it is -1, like that. And for the first one also, you can write the example. H2, then O2, N2, etc. They all have the value 0. Not only this molecule, but also magnesium, aluminium, they all can exist in an independent state or free state. Their value is 0. And for the ions, you can write the example Fe2 plus, Na plus, then Mg2 plus, etc. Okay. And the third point, that's about the exception in the case of oxygen. Okay. Exception in the case of oxygen. For oxygen in the case of superoxides and peroxides, oxidation state is assigned to oxygen as -1 or -1/2. Generally, the oxidation number or oxidation state, we can use both terms, oxidation number or oxidation state, both are same. Okay. So generally, oxidation number or state of oxygen is -2. And this one is exception. For oxygen in the case of superoxides and peroxides, oxidation state is assigned to oxygen as -1 or -1/2. You can write the example for peroxide. H2O2. It's an example for peroxide. Then superoxide, KO2. KO2. This one is an example for superoxide. In such cases, their oxidation number or oxidation state will be changed as -1 or -1/2. Thus -1 in the case of superoxide and -1/2 in the case of peroxides. Okay. So, is clear, children? Meryl, can you please read the 3 rules? Then we can discuss the remaining.
In elements in the free or uncombined state, each atom bears an oxidation number of 0. For ions composed of only one atom, the oxidation number is equal to the charge on the ion. For oxidation in case of superoxides and peroxides, oxidation state is assigned to oxygen as -1 or -1/2.
Okay. This one also you can write. Generally, oxidation number or state of oxygen is -2. Okay, is this clear? Shall I move to next rule?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So the next one, the second exception with oxygen. Okay, the second exception with oxygen is with the fluorides and difluorides. When this oxygen is combined with fluorine, 2 types of compounds will be formed. One is fluoride and other one is difluoride. Here the oxygen has oxidation state of +2 and +1. +2 and +1. For oxygen difluoride, the example is OF2. OF2, that is difluoride. Okay. Then in the case of fluoride, the example is dioxygen difluoride, that is O2F2. These two comes under the category difluoride. Difluoride. Oxygen difluoride and dioxygen difluoride. You can rewrite this one, oxygen difluoride, then dioxygen difluoride. Okay. Oxygen difluoride and dioxygen difluoride. OF2 and O2F2. OF2 is oxygen difluoride, then O2F2 dioxygen difluoride. Okay. And the next one, the number assigned to oxygen, it will depend upon the bonding state of oxygen, but this will have a positive number. That's only in the case of exceptions. Otherwise, it is -2. Okay. Normally, the oxidation state of oxygen, that is -2. But here, in the case of fluoride, difluoride, oxide, etc., it is positive value. Okay, then the next one. The oxidation state of hydrogen is +1. That is a general. An exception when it is bonded with elements with binary compounds. When it is bonded with lithium, beryllium, it has the oxidation state of -1. Example, LiH, then CaH2, then NaH, etc. In all these cases, this lithium, calcium, then sodium, etc. are more electropositive than hydrogen. Okay, lithium, calcium, and sodium, they are more electropositive than hydrogen. Clear? That's why here hydrogen has a -1 oxidation state. So the oxidation state of hydrogen is +1, that's in general, except when it is bonded with elements with binary compounds. When it is bonded with lithium, beryllium, calcium, sodium, etc., it has the oxidation state of -1 because these elements are more electropositive than hydrogen. That's the reason. Okay. Tom Sinton, can you read the rules?
The second exception with oxygen is with the oxygen difluorides and oxygen difluorides. Here the oxygen has an oxidation state of +2 and +1 respectively. The number assigned to oxygen will depend on the bonding state of oxygen, but this will have a
Positive number. Sarah, can you read the last one? Unmute.
Okay. Oxidation state of a hydrogen is present except when it is bonded with an element with binary compounds. When it is bonded with lithium beryllium, it has oxidation state of -1.
Okay, -1. Then, shall I move to next one?
No, ma'am.
Okay, okay. Finish, right? Okay, the next one, seventh one. In all its compounds, fluorine has an oxidation state of -1. Okay? In all its compounds, fluorine has an oxidation state of -1. Only -1 oxidation state was shown by this fluorine. Other halogens like chlorine, bromine, and iodine have also the oxidation status -1, except oxo anions and oxo acids. Oxo anions and oxo acids. Sorry, children. In all its compounds, fluorine has an oxidation state of -1. Only one oxidation state that's shown by fluorine, that is -1. In the case of halogens, they also, other halogens like chlorine, bromine, iodine, they also shows -1 oxidation state, except in the case of oxo anions and oxo acids. In these two cases, oxo anions and oxo acid, they will show positive oxidation state. Okay. Okay. Then the next point, the algebraic sum of the oxidation number of all the atoms in a compound must be 0. That we have discussed, right? In the case of H2O molecule, the sum of the oxidation number of all the oxidation states in this compound, that is equal to 0. And each element has a separate oxidation number, but their sum will be equal to 0. the algebraic sum of the oxidation number of all the atoms in a compound must be 0. In polyatomic ions, the algebraic sum of all the oxidation numbers of atoms of the ion must be equal to the charge on the ion. For this one, we can write the example NH4 plus. Here you can see two atoms combined together, right? But there is one common charge that is considered as a polyatomic ion. In this cases, the sum of the oxidation number that will be considered as +1. Okay, +1. In H2O, then NH3, then HCl, etc. These all are neutral compounds, right? There is no such charge. Their sum will be equal to 0. But in the case of polyatomic ions like NH4 plus, then CO3 2 minus, then etc., it will have the sum as the charge given in that formula. In the case of CO3, it is -2. Okay. CO3, it is -2. That is considered as the sum. That's the second sentence. In polyatomic ions, the algebraic sum of all the oxidation numbers of atoms of the ion must be equal to the charge on the ion. Clear? Niranjan? Niranjan, can you read these two rules?
In all its compounds, fluorine has an oxidation state of -91. Other halogens like chlorine, bromine, and iodine have also the oxidation state as -91, except oxoanions and oxacids. The algebraic sum of the oxidation number of all the atoms in a compound must be 0. In polyatomic ions, the algebraic sum of all the oxidation numbers of atoms of the ion must be equal to the charge on the ion.
Okay. Have you completed, children? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Then few more things. That's about alkali metals. You can also note this. Alkali metals, that comes under the group 1, right? Alkali metal, that is group 1. They have a common oxidation state. We have learned this one in the previous chapter. Do you remember in classification of elements and periodicity in properties, chapter 3? They have the common oxidation state +1. Then again, alkaline earth metals. Alkaline earth metals. That comes under group 2. That is +2. Their common oxidation status +2. Then for aluminium, it is generally +3 oxidation state. +3. Okay. Then in the case of transition metals, which are transition metals from which group to which group? Group 3 to 12. Okay, group 3 to 12, they have a variable oxidation state. Variable oxidation states. Then metallic elements. They have in general positive oxidation number or oxidation state, and in non-metallic elements, they have general negative oxidation state. But there will be certain exceptions. Because metallic elements are electropositive in nature, right? They are always ready to donate electrons. Okay. So they are positive, and non-metallic elements, they are always ready to accept electrons. That's why it is negative. So these are certain general things that helps us to find out the oxidation number of each element in a molecule. Clear? Is this clear, children?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Then the next one. Here, one more thing, that is Stokes notation. Stokes notation. We can also represent this oxidation number as Stokes notation. It was introduced by Alfred Stokes. Alfred Stokes. Okay. Here the representation of oxidation number by Roman numeral in parenthesis. Okay. Oxidation number, you can write this point. Oxidation number expressed by Roman numeral in parenthesis. What is parenthesis? Yes, like this in bracket. Okay, parenthesis. After the symbol of metal. Usually we are using this numericals to represent the oxidation number, right? There is one more method, that is Stokes notation. It was introduced by Alfred Stokes. Oxidation number expressed by Roman numeral in parenthesis after the symbol of metal. This one is usually used in the case of complex compounds or coordination compounds that you will learn in next year. Yes. So you can write one example. If it is FeO, which one is the metal here? Fe, right? So we can write the oxidation state of Fe in terms of Stokes notation. Okay, it will be like this: Fe, then 2O. So here 2, that is the oxidation number of Fe. Clear? It's a metal, so it is always positive. So this is the representation of FeO in Stokes notation. FeO in Stokes notation. Okay, then one more thing. Okay. Another definition for oxidation and reduction in terms of oxidation number or oxidation state. Oxidation occurs when an atom's oxidation state increases during a reaction. When we are comparing a reactant and product, if the oxidation status increases from the reactant to product, oxidation occurs to that element. Clear? Oxidation occurs when an atom's oxidation state increases during a reaction. Similarly, reduction occurs when an atom's oxidation state decreases during a reaction. Okay? Now it's time, right? So we can discuss the remaining things in the next class. Okay? I will show the slide again. One more thing, in the coming Tuesday, there will be an MCQ test from this chapter, chapter 4, chemical bonding and molecular structure. Okay, clear children? Yes. So let me take your attendance, just wait. Okay, then thank you everyone. See you in the next class. Bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.